Good morning, Sasha. It's Strength Friday again, and it's Friday, 11 April. So today is Maximizer number 23. Again, in the probably lower range of your auxiliary talents, it is possible that we're even moving into the areas of non-patterns. So it could even be something that you just, like, I don't resonate at all with this thing. In which case, that's fine. I mean, the numbers, it's typically 25-ish is where those start, or in that realm. So 23 is getting close to that. So number one, couple of things about Maximizer. Number one, I think of can always be improved, right? People that are exceptionally talented, they stimulate personal and group excellence. They always are trying to transform something from strong to even stronger, or like the famous book, From Good to Great. That's really where they thrive. It's what they really love to do. They have the ability to just kind of raise everyone else's game because they have such high standards, and they hold themselves to high standards. They help bring up the standards of the whole group. A couple of things that may be difficult with them. Sometimes it seems like things are never good enough. I have worked for bosses like this. It can be very frustrating. I'm kind of an 80% guy. I usually feel like, hey, get it to me when it's at the 80% mark, because that's what I'm comfortable at. Maximizers, it's got to be much closer to 100%. So it can be difficult if you're not a maximizer when you're dealing with someone who is a maximizer, because they're always going to want to improve it. There's a great quote from, I believe it's from Eisenhower, who said, I find that the mark of being a good staff officer is knowing that I can do better on a memo that's in front of me and signing it anyway. Meaning, like, I know I could have done it better. He was probably a maximizer, or someone had super high standards. But at some point he realized this memo is good enough and it just needs to go. But good enough is really hard for someone who's high in maximizer. They really want to be able to focus on strengths, focus on excellence. They want the freedom to kind of, sort of set a super high bar for themselves and for everyone around them. They want to be in an environment that encourages growth and quality. So again, the phrases like good enough for government work is going to be kind of frustrating for someone who's a high maximizer. So as a leader, what do you do with someone who's a maximizer, right? First of all, lean into it. Like, if there's something that has to be perfect, like this memo is going to the CG, right? Give it to that guy, because he's going to obsess over it anyway, and he'll be great about finding all the little problems and trying to get it to just a better level. So you can kind of use them in terms of their maximizer gifts. There may be some conversations you need to have where you have to tell them, listen, I understand that you have an excellent standard. It's 100%. You really want to be the best. But we can't always make it that way. And I need you to understand, we need to have some conversations about when it's okay to not be that maximizer, right? So when we're talking safety, no, let's be 100%. Let's be as safe as we possibly can. When we're talking about things which just have to be close, they have to be pretty good or good enough. Like, we don't need to maximize every single thing, because eventually, it just kind of bogs down. This person will become your bottleneck, or just become someone who you can't ever get anything past. Now, if you have a boss that's high in maximizer, like I did, what I kind of had to figure out was, what is it that's really important to them, right? Number one, comparing his stats to others, not important at all, right? For me, competition high, so therefore I'm like, well, I know that we're only at 80%, but everybody else is at 60%, so we're good. I was told, like, no, 100% is the standard. We're at 80%. Figure out how to get us there. So number one, just recognize who you're dealing with. Number two, try to figure out, like, what are the things that truly have to be perfect, and what are the things which maybe don't have to be, because usually there's some maturity level there where they'll figure out, I can't have everything to be 100%. Like, I got to be able to take some risk here, or to accept certain things not being perfect, in order to kind of get to the level of, I want to be perfect in these 3, 4, 5 things which are super important. I'm going to allow everything else to not be super maximized. It can be hard for them, so kind of understanding, and maybe even having a conversation. Hey, boss, I understand you got super high standards. it would be really helpful if we could prioritize, because I don't feel like I can get everything done sometimes. And I kind of need to know what are the no fails, things that have to be that perfect standard. And then are there any things, and maybe the answer is no, everything has to be perfect, in which case, it's a zero defects mentality, and it's really hard. You'll kind of make it through, because ultimately just you can't be perfect at everything. Even those with the highest of standards will eventually come to that realization. So take heart. I mean, those who maximizers are out there, they can be super helpful, especially if you lean into them and you're like, hey, I need you to make sure that we don't miss anything on this or whatever. Focus them in the right direction, and maybe they can help your team out. All right, talk to you later. Love you. Bye.